The Diary of Death. Under the flickering light of a full moon, barely able to penetrate the thick fog that enveloped the sleeping city, a young man named Michael hurried down a deserted street, driven by a restlessness he couldn't explain. His destination was an antiques shop that, according to rumors, housed objects of mysterious origins and dark pasts. Crossing the threshold of the door, which creaked ominously, Michael had no idea he was about to uncover a deadly secret hidden within the pages of an ancient diary, capable of predicting deaths with terrifying accuracy. With each page turned, a sense of dread deepened, as if he were unearthing something that should have remained hidden, something that whispered in the shadows, waiting for its next victim. In the dim light of the dusty antique shop, he stumbled upon an object that seemed out of place among cuckoo clocks and tribal masks. A leather-bound diary with the title, The Diary of Death, embossed in gold that had faded over time. Curiosity overcame caution, and he purchased it, unaware that his life was about to take a dark turn. As Michael tentatively reached out to pick up the book, his fingers brushed against the cover, immediately noticing an unsettling difference. The leather was softer, possessing a peculiar suppleness that felt disconcertingly organic, unlike any animal hide he had encountered before. The realization slowly dawned on him, sending a shiver down his spine. This was leather crafted from human skin. The texture was unnervingly smooth, almost tender, as if retaining the essence of the soul it once belonged to. He could almost sense the whispers of its former life, echoes of pain and despair embedded in the very fabric of the cover. The thought that he was touching something so intimately connected to another human being, now reduced to a mere object, filled him with a deep, primal horror. Back in his apartment, Michael leafed through the yellowed pages of the diary. The entries, written in an elegant but hurried handwriting, listed names followed by dates and causes of death. Initially, Michael laughed off the idea. What kind of person would believe in this, he thought. But his laughter was cut short when a news report on TV announced the death of a local celebrity, exactly as described in the diary for that date. Consumed by doubt and fear, Michael began to investigate the diary's origin. Each clue led to darker stories about a sinister pact made centuries ago, involving black magic and the relentless pursuit of immortality. The legend stated that the diary's creator had made a deal with an entity forgotten by time, exchanging his soul for the ability to predict and, in some cases, cause the death of others. Michael realized that the diary's predictions were not random. They followed a pattern he was beginning to understand. Each death seemed to feed some nefarious purpose, as if each harvested soul was paying the eternal debt of the diary's creator. With the help of Sarah, a scholar of the occult he met during his search, Michael discovered that the only way to break the cycle and prevent more deaths was to destroy the diary. But it wouldn't be easy. The diary was protected by powerful spells, requiring an equivalent sacrifice to break them. As they delved deeper into the history and rituals of black magic, Michael and Sarah found themselves in a race against time. New predictions magically appeared in the diary, each one closer to people Michael loved. He knew he couldn't save everyone, but he was determined to end the curse, even at the cost of his own life. Their quest took them to an ancient cemetery, where the diary's creator had been buried along with his secrets. There, they faced the shadows of souls that had been reaped by the diary, each clamoring for rest or vengeance. As Michael and Sarah ventured deeper into the graveyard, the night air grew colder, and the ground beneath them seemed to pulse with a life of its own. Suddenly, the earth began to tremble, and ghostly figures rose from their graves, encircling them with hollow eyes filled with unspeakable sorrow and rage. The air was thick with their cries, a cacophony of despair that clawed at their sanity. Amidst this spectral assembly, a darker presence lurked, its gaze piercing through the gloom, paralyzing them with fear. It was the spirit of the diary's creator, twisted by centuries of bound souls and unquenchable thirst for power. His voice, a mere whisper, echoed with the torment of the damned, promising eternal suffering to those who dared to uncover his accursed legacy. Michael and Sarah found themselves trapped in a nightmare, where the boundary between the living and the dead blurred, and every shadow held a terror beyond comprehension. At the climax of a stormy night, Michael and Sarah performed a ritual to undo the pact, using the diary itself as an offering. The pages ignited in blue flames, screams echoed through the cemetery, and a dense darkness enveloped them. When the moon appeared beyond the clouds, the diary had disappeared, leaving behind only ashes. As the specter of the diary's creator loomed closer, an unseen force gripped Michael, binding him in place with invisible chains colder than death itself. His heart pounded against his chest, a futile protest against the inevitable as he realized the price of their quest. The air around him began to shimmer with a sinister energy, and he could feel the very essence of his being start to unravel. Tiny particles of his flesh started to flake away, as if each piece of him was being individually torn from his body. The pain was indescribable, a sensation of being consumed from the inside out, his screams lost amidst the howling of tormented souls surrounding them. Sarah watched in horror, helpless, as Michael's form became more translucent, his features blurring into the night. His eyes, wide with terror and understanding, met hers one last time, conveying a silent apology and a plea for forgiveness. Then, with a final, heart-wrenching cry that seemed to silence the world, he disintegrated completely, his body turning to dust that scattered in the wind, leaving nothing behind but the memory of his sacrifice. The malevolent spirit's laughter echoed through the cemetery, a chilling reminder of the cost of meddling with forces beyond human comprehension. Michael had paid the ultimate price for the destruction of the diary, his life extinguished to break the cycle of death it had perpetuated. Sarah was left alone, surrounded by darkness and the cold embrace of the dead, with the weight of their mission and Michael's sacrifice heavy on her soul. The night air, once filled with the promise of ending a centuries-old curse, now whispered mournfully, a testament to the tragedy of their endeavor and the unforgiving nature of their foe. In the aftermath of the ritual and Michael's harrowing sacrifice, Sarah stood alone, a solitary figure amidst the desolation of the ancient cemetery. But the quiet that followed was not one of peace. It was a silence heavy with a new, malevolent anticipation. As the first rays of dawn began to pierce the darkness, Sarah felt a chilling sensation, a sinister caress against her skin that seemed to seep into her very soul. It was then she realized the curse had not been fully extinguished. It had merely found a new vessel. The diary's dark legacy, its unquenchable thirst for death and despair, had latched onto her, its new keeper. Whispers filled her mind, voices of the past and future victims of the diary, each one a reminder of the eternal burden she now carried. The world around Sarah began to distort, the cemetery morphing into a grotesque mirror of the realm between life and death. Shadows danced with a life of their own, reaching out with tendrils of darkness that threatened to engulf her. She could see faces within them, twisted in eternal agony, their eyes pleading for release from their endless torment. Sarah's attempts to flee were futile. The shadows clung to her, a constant, horrifying reminder of her connection to the diary's cursed lineage. Her screams, filled with despair and terror, echoed unanswered, swallowed by the oppressive atmosphere of the graveyard. As days turned into nights and back again, Sarah's existence became a living nightmare. Haunted by visions of deaths yet to come, she was tormented by the knowledge that she was powerless to prevent them. Her once vibrant spirit was now marred by the darkness of the diary, her life a perpetual cycle of horror and suffering. The cemetery, her eternal prison, stood as a grim monument to the curse of the Diary of Death. And Sarah, its unwilling custodian, was condemned to witness the endless parade of death and despair, a stark reminder of the price of tampering with forces beyond human understanding. Her fate, a terrifying echo of the diary's creator, served as a chilling testament to the diary's unyielding power and the unfathomable horror that it wrought upon those who dared to unveil its secrets. Subscribe now! Activate the bell and be notified when a new horror story is available. Don't lose each new tale as it is ready for you.